Well, switching to AI, when Peter was here previously, he discussed how NVIDIA is now the only business that has successfully profited from AI. Do you already have an idea of the major uses of AI that you anticipate? Will it make self-driving possible? Will enabling robots be involved? Are industries being transformed by it? In my opinion, it is still too early to tell where the significant business impact will occur. Have you developed a sense yet? At the moment, I believe that the expenditures on AI are likely to outpace, indeed, they currently outpace, the revenue. Regarding it, there is no doubt. However, AI is developing at a significantly faster rate than any other technology I've ever seen. The Turing test, for instance, was formerly in use. It's likely that your simple, open-source random LLM operating on a Raspberry Pi could pass the Turing test. In my opinion, the positive future of AI is one of great affluence, in which there is no lack of commodities and services. Everyone may have anything they desire, with the exception of those that we have made artificially scarce, such as unique works of art. However, I believe that as AI and robotics advance, the cost of goods and services will eventually approach zero for anything that is created or rendered. Everyone will be able to have anything they desire, albeit I'm not suggesting it will be zero. Naturally, it is the bright future, and I believe that to be about 80% plausible. On the plus side, there is only a 20% chance of annihilation. How does the 20% appear? Man, I have no idea. To be honest, in order to get a good night's sleep, I do need to intentionally suspend my disbelief in AI to some extent. And even in such case, the real problem, the most likely one in my opinion, is how we find purpose in a future where artificial intelligence can perform any tasks that humans can perform just a little bit better. That might be the more difficult task. However, I know an increasing number of people who are retired now, and they appear to be content with their lives. However, I believe there may be a crisis of meaning, such as the machine doing everything you can do a little better, so that might be a problem. In actuality, nonetheless, you require the kind of final components. Both autonomous vehicles and general-purpose or humanoid robots are necessary. However, you can actually build anything once you have autonomous cars and general-purpose humanoid robots. In my opinion, there is no real cap on the economy's size. Of course, the Earth's mass would be one restriction. In actuality, however, the economy is simply the average productivity per person multiplied by the population. The economy is that. There is also no real limit to the economy if you have humanoid robots, which can function very intelligently and have no real limit on the number of them. The economy has no real boundaries. Colossus, which is presumably the biggest private compute cluster of GPUs in the world, was just turned on by you guys. Is that correct? It's the most potent supercomputer available, which somewhat supports both David's and Peter's assertions that NVIDIA has reaped the full financial benefits of artificial intelligence thus far. However, there are others who have other options, and you are now one of them. Because Dojo is primarily about images, large images, huge video, you have a really particular case. Indeed, there are differences between the Tesla problem and the LLM situation. What counts in artificial intelligence is different from the nature of intelligence itself. As you just pointed out, there is a lot of context in Tesla's situation. Thus, the context is gigabytes in size. Windows with context. Yes, indeed. It's kind of like, why are we just bringing it up? There is a tremendous amount of context, billions of tokens. Since you have 7 cameras, and if you have many, for example, a minute of multiple high-def cameras, that's gigabytes. The challenge for Tesla is to condense a vast amount of context into the pixels that are truly important over time. Therefore, you must compress the pixels in space and the pixels throughout time in both the time and space dimensions, and then use a little computer to make that inference. The best AI inference computer now available is probably a modest one, like a few hundred watts, designed by Tesla. We could not purchase anything better from suppliers. By the way, the AI inference machine that Tesla has built inside its cars is superior to anything we could purchase from any vendor. That's not bad at all. The Tesla AI team is quite skilled. However, you guys created your own Ethernet transport control layer. Someone on your team from Tesla published a technical paper and a deck, and I thought it was amazing. Ethernet isn't good enough for us, you said. We have this TTCO or something, you say, and you think, oh, we're just going to string these chips and reinvent Ethernet. There is some pretty amazing stuff going on there. Yes. No, the design team behind the Tesla chips is incredibly talented. However, is there a scenario in which, for instance, other individuals eventually require some kind of image or video use case? In this scenario, you might ask yourself, oh, why not? You could be considered an NVIDIA competitor if you said, I have some extra cycles over here. It's not really deliberate, but at Tesla, for example, we are working on inference and training initiatives. The training computer is called Dojo, and the inference computer is our inference chip, which is found in all cars. So Dojo 1 is the only one we have. By the end of the next year, Dojo 2 ought to be in full swing. And we believe that will be somewhat similar to a training system like the B200. Therefore, I suppose there is a chance that it could be used as a service. However, Dojo is just sort of. I suppose I have more faith in Dojo now, but I don't think we'll truly know how wonderful Dojo is until maybe version 3. For example, a technology typically requires 3 significant iterations before it is considered outstanding. Only the second significant iteration will occur the following year. The third iteration, I'm not sure, perhaps late 2026 or something. What is the status of the Optimus project? I recall that you mentioned in public during our most recent conversation that it was conducting some light testing within the factory. Thus, it is truly serving a purpose. When will the materials be built for anything like that on a large scale? What would they cost if you were to start producing the Model 3 right now and 1 million of them were coming off the assembly line? Do you think $20,000, $30,000, or $40,000? Yes, really. What I've found is that anything produced in large enough quantities will eventually approach the cost of its constituent elements. Now, I should point out that the expense of intellectual property limits some things, such as paying for patents and other things. A chip's depreciation and royalties account for a large portion of its contents. However, the chip's true marginal cost is extremely low. Optimus is clearly a humanoid robot, although it is smaller and weighs significantly less than a car. You should thus anticipate that at large volume, and I would also suggest that you will likely require 3 production versions for Optimus, so you will need to modify the design at least 3 times, and then increase production to the level of more than 1 million units annually. At that time, Optimus's labor and material costs are most likely no higher than $10,000. And perhaps that's a 10-year journey? Consider it this way. Optimus will be less expensive than a modest automobile. At scale volume, using 3 main technological advancements. An Optimus, a humanoid robot that can be your friend, and is a superior version of R2-D2 and C3PO, would likely cost $22,000 if a small automobile costs $25,000. Sincerely, I believe that individuals will grow rather attached to their humanoid robot. I adore R2-D2 and C3PO, for example. When you look at Star Wars, they have individuality. R2 could only beep at you after all. He was not fluent in English. The beeps were translated by C3PO.